So I would like to introduce Nicole LaVoi. Nicole is PhD. She's an expert in coaching education in girls and women's sports. She currently teaches sports psychology and sports sociology in the School of Kinesiology at the University of Minnesota, where she is also the Associate Director of the Tucker Center for Research on Girls and Women in Sport and co-founder of the Minnesota Youth Sport Research Consortium. Dr. LaVoi plays on the Renegades in the largest women's hockey league in the world, WHAM, lives in the state of Minnesota, has researched psychosocial variables in hockey, and spent a good part of 2011 helping make a documentary, Concussion and Female Athletes, An Untold Story. Welcome, Nicole.
Started my roots as a tennis player. I played college tennis, I coached college tennis for a number of years before getting into the academic domain of sports science. I was burned out of tennis, I was burned out of coaching, unfortunately, but my passion became coaching education, because as a young coach, I thought I knew a lot about coaching, and I showed up my first day as a head coach at Wellesley College at age 23, and in about a half hour figured out I was in over my head. So a lot of what I do now is helping young coaches, young female coaches, male coaches as well, figure out how to coach more effectively and not have to do it by trial and error. And so now, this is me, and where's Bob? Okay, when you were talking the other day about what's appropriate for U8s, keep your head up, keep your feet moving, and what was the third one? Stick on the ice. And I thought, well, I think I have 2 out of the 3 here, but the level that I play at, I think those things still ring true. So I've been playing hockey for about 13 years. I love it. It helps our winters go by a lot faster, and I've learned a lot through playing the game of hockey. So I come to you as a reformed tennis player, now hockey enthusiast and coach educator. So what our game plan is this morning, I'm going to tell you just a brief bit about the Tucker Center. Diane mentioned a little bit about it. I want to touch on 2 myths about coaching girls that I get all the time from coaches and parents. I know it's not exactly about parent education, but it is related. Then we'll talk about parental influence. We'll talk about the difference between a toxic, what I call a toxic climate in youth sport, and a positive climate, what that looks like. And then strategies for coaches on how to work with parents, all right? So we've got a full plate. I'm gonna look at my watch here so we stay on time. So when you want me to go for about an hour, like 9:15? Okay, great, so we're rolling up our sleeves. So Donna mentioned, Diane and I are the co-founders of the Minnesota Youth Sport Research Consortium. If you go to the website, it's MNYRSRC.org. You know, in academia, we like long things. It's not real sexy, but it, you know, it tells people what it is. There's a lot of really good information on there. A lot of the information I'll share with you today is from our Minnesota Plays program, Parents Learning About Youth Sports. So I probably give 1 seminar to sport parents in our youth sport organizations a month. So a lot of that stuff today is coming from that program. So that's just a resource for you. The other resource is the Tucker Center, and it's tuckercenter.org. Diane gave you the long URL on her slides. And on this website there is videos, there are resources, and you can see our Developing Physically Active Girls report. And it looks like this. I brought 2 copies today. We also have this free online as a PDF. Diane and I are authors of this along with some of our colleagues. We put it out at the end of 2007. And in here is, at the time, all the latest research, psychological, sociological, physiological information about how to develop physically active girls. For coaches, for parents, for sport administrators. I just ran into Vicki, who talked to us earlier, said, I love that report, I cite it all the time. So We wrote it for the layperson. It's not an academic, like she said, research. I'm not going to be able to, you know, I don't know if that's accessible. It's very accessible, so I would highly encourage you to download that and look at it. And for those of you who really, really want one, we'll see who's fastest and can run up here at the end. Maybe I'll think of a trivia question. So I invite you to visit our website. This is an old screenshot, but you'll get the sense. Here's the report. And as Diane mentioned previously, we have a DVD. Some of you got a copy. If you didn't get a copy and you're wanting a copy, you can watch the documentary online for free on our website. You'll see a little cover of this, and you can just click on the cover and it'll take you to the link from Twin Cities Public Television. So I would invite you to look at that as well. Well, those are some resources for you as coaches, because what I find is that the people in this room and your colleagues across the country, they want good information. They want quality information, they want evidence-based information, and they want to do the right thing. And they don't know where to find it. So one of the reasons why we founded the Research Consortium is to be a hub for people like you who have questions and are looking for good information. So as Donna said, I want you to think of us as resources. If you have a question, call me up, shoot me an email. I'm happy to help. That's one of the reasons why I do what I do, is to help people that need the information. All right, myth number 1 about coaching girls sport. Anybody want to guess what it is? There are a lot of them. I could have done a whole hour long on myths, but I just picked the top 2. That girls aren't as interested in sports as boys. Is this myth or fact? Who thinks it's a myth? If not everyone is raising their hand, I'm going to come and put this laser pointer in your eye, all right? No, girls are just as interested in sports as boys are. If you give them the opportunity to play, and a lot of you have, they will come. So that's not true. Okay, here's our Gopher National Championship team. Girls and women love sport, and as we learned, they play for the same reasons. So girls are just as interested in sport, and if you hear that, you need to educate people that that is not true. I get that question all the time. Well, you know, you're at the Tucker Center. Girls are as interested in sports as boys. Why isn't there a Tucker Center for research on boys in sport? Like, that's a different talk, okay? But they are interested. Myth 2, coaching girls is entirely and inherently drastically different from coaching boys. I get this question every single coaching education workshop I get. And what I can tell you is this is the prevailing idea about coaching girls and coaching boys. Okay? And, you know, it's funny and it makes a lot of sense and we intuitively think that, but what I can tell you from the coaching science is that that is not exactly true. Coaching boys and coaching girls is not that different. Effective coaching is effective coaching, regardless of gender. Boys and girls are much more similar than they are different. They want to feel cared about, they want to feel belonging, they're playing for their friends, they want good coaches, they want to develop skills, they want some sense of autonomy. And what I find is that when we think about them as different, sometimes we reinforce the very stereotypes about girls that we're trying to alleviate, right? So I just want to bring that up because, and I could spend another hour on this, but good coaching is good coaching. And you're learning that, a lot of those concepts today. A lot of people have talked about the reasons why kids play sport. They're not different. The reasons why boys and girls play sport are very similar, and winning is down the list. The other thing we've not talked about, but if I had the time, I would talk about what I call the 3 C's of coaching. It's based on the self-determination theory, and if you want to Google that, they have an awesome website. And if I would have known about this theory as a young coach, it would have transformed what I did, because it helps us think about coaching effectiveness. All of us, boys and girls, men and women, this is a theory of human motivation. We all have 3 inherent human needs. The need to feel cared about, a sense of belonging. We've been talking a lot about connectiveness, and girls are social and they want to be part of a team. That's the need for care and feeling cared about, known, needed, valued. We all have that. Okay? The other need is we all like to do things we're good at. Right? So if kids aren't developing skills, they'll quit. The need for competence. Think of yourselves. We're drawn to things that we're good at, and we don't do things we perceive we're not good at. This is an inherent human need. And the third need is what I call choice. The academic term would be autonomy. So we like a sense of control and make our own decisions. We don't like to be controlled. And when we meet these 3 human needs as a coach or a parent, when you meet them all simultaneously, you get intrinsic motivation. Doing something because it's inherently fun and rewarding in and of itself. And that is what we as coaches, and what I have perceived the American development model is about, building a climate where intrinsic motivation can flourish. And the way we do that as coaches is to meet these 3 inherent needs. And I can tell you, I use this theory every single day in my teaching, in my personal relationships, with my family, with my colleagues. If you have a conflict, and Don, I see you in the back, talked about conflicts. If you have a conflict with someone, a parent, an athlete, a colleague, I sit back and go, okay, why is there a conflict? Which one of these needs in our relationship is not being met? It helps you troubleshoot. So I want to bring this up because it's related to parents. Because you as a coach, you're trying to fill all these needs within the context of sport, but your main need is probably competence and helping the kids feel cared about. But the parent role, and you can ask parents, you know, you're trying to do all these things for your children, but in the context of sport, your primary role is care. You're not the coach. That's my job, right? And as teaching the parents, and I can't remember who talked about this because it's all blending together, but having parents give their kids the choice. Do you want to play hockey or not? You know, well, Mom and I played hockey, so I think you want to play hockey, right? Sure. Right? Maybe they don't. So giving them the choice. So great theory, super applicable, and very relevant to what we're talking about.